Hello and welcome back to the iGP Manager AOR League. This week we're in China for the third round of the season after a mixed conditions race in Malaysia that saw Kevin Gonzalez take the lead of the championship, but only marginally. My name is Justin Sutton, and joining me again this week, it's Alex Gillon.
Hello everyone, good to be back for the second week in a row, and quite looking forward to this race with an interesting grid here.
Yeah, very interesting grid. Before we talk about the grid, though, and I do hope to show the grid before the race actually starts this week, but before we talk about the grid, let's have a quick look at the standings, just to remind everybody of what we're looking at. Kevin Gonzalez, as I mentioned, leading the championship by only 5 points to Daniel Thomas, who finished in second position last time out in Malaysia. Nicholas Navarro, the winner from Australia, didn't score at all in Malaysia, but that's still enough to keep him in third position. And Nicholas Carrasco, the Spaniard, the leading Spaniard of the two, in fourth position with 24 points. But yeah, just 13 points separating the entire top 8. So literally the top half of the field is separated by less than a podium's worth of points. So yeah, it's been a fantastic start to the season, a fantastic first 2 races, and it's really mixed up as far as where everybody's sitting in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, very, very close. Only 2 races in, of course, but all to play for, certainly. And yeah, again, hopefully this is a good race. Hopefully it's a good season. And hopefully we get some interesting results rather than just a runaway champion. I think we've seen enough of that in Formula 1 over the year.
That's exactly right. It is dry conditions for today's race, as you can see at the top right corner of your screens. 0.0 millimeters of water on the track. It is 12 degrees Celsius and clear skies as well, too. You can see the qualifiers. We've got 4 on the Super Softs. That is Peter Mann, Nicholas Pressey, Nicholas Morales, and Daniel Thomas. So we've got Peter Mann, who finished in third last time out, on pole position. Daniel Thomas, who finished in second, he's in fifth. But our winner and championship leader is Kevin Gonzalez. He's down in 16th position, the only car starting on the medium tires, and we're getting very close to the start of this race. So lots of soft runners though. We've got 4 super soft, 11 soft, and 1 medium runner for today. Interestingly, Autosport is the third of the soft qualifiers, so seeming a little bit more competitive here this week. It seems after, well, the first week their pace was a little bit my fault, as I explained in last week's stream, but it seems they're actually just getting better and better, and they're taking advice from their viewers and getting votes on how to proceed with their season and everything, and it seems to be paying dividends, as they are now starting, as I mentioned, third quickest on the soft tires in qualifying. So high hopes for them today, but we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on Gonzalez, and we're away, actually. The cars are headed down towards turn 1, and already Daniel Thomas jumping Simon Fazzolari for that 4th place position. Again, he was the last of the Super Soft qualifiers. We do see Autosport actually dropping a ton of positions right down into 14th, 13th position now, fighting back a little bit there, but losing tons of positions at the start of the race here, Alex.
Yeah, huge amount. Yeah, I was thinking similar to you, Justin. Quite hopeful for their results. This race being third of the soft qualifiers and drop right down there. That could indicate quite heavy fuel there, down to P15 now, actually, almost at the back. That could indicate quite heavy fuel, so potentially doing 1 less stop than else, and actually right to the back of the field. Oh, just back up to P15 there. But yes, let's see how long they go in this stint.
Yep, but it is the 4 super soft runners, unsurprisingly, that have started to break away from the rest of the field. Simon Fazzolari, who really did not have a great race last time out in Malaysia, he is the leading soft runner and just about keeping ahead of Cesar Navarro. Very, very close between those two as they get into that hairpin for the first time as we come to the end of the first lap. And unsurprisingly, Peter Mann setting the fastest lap of the race so far. But yeah, Kevin Gonzalez has actually already moved ahead of Autosport, so our championship leader already making gains in the race. It is very tight still, though, for 5th down to 16th, so I'm not going to write off anybody just yet. We can have a quick look at the gaps to the leaders. You can see it's just about 6 seconds, basically 5 seconds really even, from 4th down to last. So it's not the biggest gap in the world, but Cesar Navarro has managed to make his way past Simon Fazzolari, possibly telling his driver to push very hard on these opening laps and just make up those positions. Of course, he would like to keep up with the super soft runners, try and pick up that DRS. We know the DRS isn't overwhelmingly strong at the level that these managers are at, but I mean, everything helps, especially when it's this competitive in a league.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, every little helps, certainly. And just coming towards the end of lap 2 now. Don't forget you don't get boost until lap 3, as with DRS. And as you said, the super soft runner's just pulling away, but not by an excessive amount. Only currently a 1.2-second gap between the last super soft runner and the first soft runner. So not a huge amount of pace gain, but of course we don't know the fuel levels as yet. These guys could actually be on a very, very similar level of fuel. But of course, the soft tyres, super soft tyres would be expected to be a bit quicker in the beginning, assuming the same fuel levels. And then as the tyres start to wear, the super soft will start to go off a bit sooner, and that should allow the soft tyres back. So interesting to watch Cesar Navarro there in P5 to see how he gets on throughout this race, and keep an eye on the fuel levels as well, of course.
Yeah, he's actually already starting to build a gap. We are seeing a little bit of boost usage as well, too. I think we saw a little bit from Jose Navarro, or was it? Yeah, it was actually Carrasco that we saw deploying a bit of boost. Chandler Saita in 7th position has not had the best start to his season, but he does have a couple of points to his name. I'm sure he's going to be looking to improve on that, as we're going to get DRS for the first time on the back straight. I should actually be looking a little bit further up, because Nicolas Morales getting rather close to the back of Peter Mann for the lead of this race. In the end, that DRS not quite enough to put him alongside, or indeed past the British manager, but he is right on his case, setting fastest lap with the benefit of that DRS, not deploying any boost on that lap, so still holding on to his boost. And I think that's one kind of trend that we've seen so far in this season. People that tend to use their boost very early on have not been super successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need to try and use your boost quite tactically. I think realistically in IGP races, it's all about using it to potentially get ahead of a car if you know you're a lot quicker, because it is very hard to overtake it in the infield, just as it is in real life racing, and or to try and steal some DRS. As you said, it does certainly give you an advantage. I checked the sector times on that last lap, and it looked like I think there was about 3 or 4 tenth gain or something like that with DRS, and it looks like actually Nicolas Morales here might have a great shot at P1 up in the front. He's very, very close behind. He's going to get some DRS. You see him just very slowly gaining on there. Once again, they are lower level, and he does manage to get past the P1, so he does take the lead now. So this will be interesting to see if he can manage to pull away on this lap. And yeah, I wonder what the fuel levels are here, Justin.
Yeah, very curious. Nicolas Morales really seeming to have the upper edge. Again, all of the managers started at level 1. They're not level 1 at this point after completing a couple of races, but everybody started at level 1, so we will see that DRS eventually start to become more and more powerful. But clearly it was enough for Nicolas Morales. Maybe he was just managing those tire temperatures really well, and then told his driver to push hard just before coming onto that straight. We can only hypothesize on that one, but Peter Mann already dropping out of DRS range, actually. I know there's lots of battles going on behind as well, too. Cesar Navarro clearly separating himself from the rest of the soft runners. Again, could be light on fuel, and that could be flattering his pace. He is deploying a bit of boost here as well, too. Sizing up Daniel Thomas. It looks like Thomas is going to be within DRS range of Nicholas Pressey, though, and Pressey does indeed pick up the DRS, as does Thomas and Navarro, but crucially, Peter Mann did not.
Yeah, interesting stuff there. And as you said, Peter Mann dropping a huge rip back, already 1.5 second back at the last count at the end of sector 2. So, that'll be why then. Nicolas Morales coming straight into the pit, so very, very light on fuel there. Just 6 laps he did on his fuel, so that would explain his pace advantage. And actually, that would give quite a big advantage to Peter Mann, because he was able to hold him behind him for the first, what was it, 3 or 4 laps or so. So despite the fact that Nicolas Morales should have been quicker, Peter Mann was able to hold him behind. So be interesting to see how long now Peter Mann can go with his fuel. And just a little bit of boost you see there behind there. Cesar Navarro very keen to get past Daniel Thomas, and does manage to do that with a bit of boost. So it'd be interesting to see if he can pull away before he gets DRS. Now I'd imagine he'll do well to get out of the DRS detection, because he needs a whole second ahead of him, of course. It does need to be quick and using a bit of boost there, so just trying to see if he can sneak some DRS on the car ahead, and also make sure he breaks DRS to the car behind. And this could be pretty close here, Justin.
Yeah, tactical boost deployment, and it looks like Daniel Thomas is actually going to deploy his boost as well in an effort to keep up with the back of Cesar Navarro. It is successful. Is Navarro going to have enough straight line speed? It's not enough into the braking zone, but is he going to get him coming out of the hairpin? No, it doesn't look like he will. Possibly coming into the pits this lap? Nope, he does not, but Daniel Thomas does come into the pits, so the man who finished in 2nd position in Malaysia comes into the pits. Getting rid of those super soft tires. So it is only Peter Mann, actually, who is still out there on those super softs. Clearly, Cesar Navarro is faster at this point. He was 1.6 seconds faster last lap, again, with the DRS and with a bit of boost as well. In fact, quite a bit of boost was actually used by Cesar on that previous lap, but I imagine he is not going to be happy about having to stay behind. We do have a rather close battle for what is now currently 8th position. It's starting to spread out, though, as Johan Dimier pulls a bit of a gap down to Nicholas Coleman, who is running just in the final points-paying position. Of course, we've had 3 cars into the pits already, though. Just to remind everyone, that was Morales, Pressey, and Thomas. And it looks like Navarro, again, possibly deploying a bit of boost. I thought I saw that from him. Maybe it was Peter Mann, but he's got the DRS now, does Navarro. And with that boost usage, is he going to get him this time into the hairpin? No, it's very close between the two of them. Peter Mann defends with some boost as well, and it looks like they're both going to go off into the pits and get rid of those tires. So that's a very late stop for Peter Mann, pitting at the end of lap 7, and what seems to me a rather early stop for Cesar Navarro, considering he started on the softs.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was interesting there, and that probably explains the pace difference right at the end there. I think Cesar Navarro must have had a bit of pace advantage there just because he had the fresher tyres. But as you said, very, very early to pit with instead of the soft tyres. But he is right up there with Peter Mann, who, let's not forget, was leading this race for well, several of these laps. He's led most of the laps so far. So it could potentially be a good strategy, but we'll see how it plays out. They've both gone to the soft tyres now, so going for the slightly longer lasting tyres rather than just super softs, which are probably mainly for quali position, really. And we'll see if we can catch these guys ahead. It's Nicholas Morales, actually, isn't it, up ahead, who's already pitted, of course. So this is the guys that are pitted now. The back 5 are all the ones that are pitted. Daniel Thomas on the medium tyres there as well.
He is indeed. So he becomes the 2nd medium compound runner. Daniel Thomas fitted those mediums last time out in Malaysia, and that worked out rather well for him after he fitted a set of softs right at the end, and that's what allowed him to claim that 2nd place position. But Cesar Navarro not sticking around to battle with Peter Mann with that DRS. He is able to move up and ahead of Peter Mann. And we've got some more cars into the pits. That is Carrasco, who's into the pits and just feeding out now just behind Nicholas Pressey. So all of those guys outside of the point, but they have all done their pits. The top 10 still yet to pit. And interestingly, I would like to point out, Autosport is not last. They are ahead of Jake Thompson right now, almost about ready to break DRS on him. And actually, they've got more boost than Jake Thompson as well, too. So definitely making strides here. It's been a difficult start to the season for Autosport. We've got lots of boost usage going on in this battle for 6th position. As actually 5th position, Johan Dimier using a bit of boost, picks up the DRS and breaks the DRS to Felix Cabanes down in 6th position. And here comes Kevin Gonzalez on the medium tires. He moves himself up into 6th position, gaining a couple of spots there. And he is looking pretty good. Nicholas Coleman now looking... No, it wasn't. It was Cabanes actually coming into the pits. He's following Insaurralde. So starting to see the soft runners come in at the end of lap 9. Lots of them continuing, though. But I imagine the soft window is firmly open at this point. And we're going to be seeing possibly a lot of cars come into the pits at the end of this lap.
I'd imagine so, yes. And I'm just looking at the lap times here, Justin. So Peter Mann last lap was a 36.7. I believe that was without any boost or DRS. And P1 there, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. I'll leave that one to you. Simone, we'll go with that. Did a 36.2 and a 36.7 for Peter Mann. So actually about half a second quicker there. So despite the fact that Peter Mann was in the lead when he came into the pits there, just having to now go to much heavier fuel load and granted fresher tyres, but it's all about fuel load really in IGP. Already 15.6 seconds back for the leader. So I'm not sure how long it is in the pits. Don't know if you've got any information on that, Justin, but could potentially be close to the lead. Either way, he's doing a good job still out on his tyres there.
Yeah, as we mentioned before in previous broadcasts, it is actually, and we do see a lot of cars coming off into the pits now, and Autosport is going to be one of those. And I think Nicholas Morales, excuse me, is going to be second position now behind Kevin Gonzalez, who again started this race on that set of medium tires. Let's just remind everybody of what the strategies are looking like at this point. So again, Kevin has done 10 laps. Nicholas Morales currently on his 6th lap on this set of softs, having completed 5. Cesar Navarro in 3rd position, though, has 2-lap fresher tires compared to Nicholas in the yellow car up ahead of him. So it's looking pretty good for Cesar Navarro. He has used a lot of boost, a lot more boost specifically compared to Morales. And Kevin Gonzalez has actually used all of his boost. Every single drop of that boost has been absolutely drained from that leading medium runner. And I wonder if he's going to be on for a 1 stop. I think if he comes in you know, at the end of lap 14 and fits a set of mediums, that's going to be rather telling about what his strategy is for today's race. Peter Mann coming under attack. The battle for 4th position at the moment is rather tight. Nicholas Pressey not far behind. Neither is Carrasco or Fazzolari. And again, just to remind everyone, Daniel Thomas is on the medium compound tires. Oh my goodness, and he is coming under heavy attack from Inceralde and Saita just behind on the soft tires. But he's doing a great job of holding them up here.
He is, and just to point out there, Justin, Kevin Gonzalez did actually come into the pits, the guy on the medium tyres, who started on the medium tyres, our current championship leader, winner of the last race, just did come into the pits for another set of the soft tyres, so I think he probably will have another stop after this. He's not quite going to make it to lap 14 still, one stop. It will indeed be a 2-stop, just clearly decided on a bit of a different strategy. They're starting on the medium tyres, qualifying and starting on the medium tyres, longer stint. Down at P12 at the moment, currently 16 seconds back from lead, so a bit of time to make up. But like I said, I do believe he's probably going to do one less pit stop than everyone else. So, and I did look during that last round of pit stops. I think it's somewhere in the region of 18 to 19 seconds pit stop lost time. So currently he will come out in P1, presuming that everyone in front of him is going to pit again. But of course, he will be quite heavy with fuel now and losing time to the leaders. Nicholas Morales done a 35.19, and just looking at the middle sectors, 4/10 was the difference between Nicholas Morales in P1 in the middle sector, and then Kevin Gonzalez in P12. 4/10 quicker was the leader. So I think Kevin Gonzalez is going to need some probably a bit of better pace, I imagine, to make this what it will be 2-stop trusty work.
Yeah. Daniel Thomas, his defense was not successful on Inceralde into the braking zone at the end of the DRS straight, and he lost that position. Now down into 8th with Saita right behind him, as well as Dimier and Jose Navarro as well. Kevin Gonzalez has fed out just behind this battle for 7th position. Just keeping an eye up at the front, Nicholas Pressey and Nicholas Carrasco both picking up the DRS last lap, but only because of a bit of boost usage. It looks like Pressey is going to save his boost, or he's run out of it. No, he's going to save his boost this time by, and that could put him under attack from Nicholas Carrasco. He's picked up the DRS. Pressey not picking up the DRS on Peter Mann this time by, and is it going to be enough for Carrasco? Deploying a bit of boost at the end of the straight once again, not able to move ahead of the American, so Carrasco stays behind for the meantime. As they continue on, as we're now 13 laps in, starting lap number 14 of this Chinese race. And it is still pretty close up at the front. Last race, it was very spread out. The top 4 kind of really breaking away at the start of the race. But that mainly was due to the mixed conditions and so many cars starting on the full wet compounds. And the guys that started on the intermediates, for the most part, largely anyway, they were very successful in that race just purely because of starting on the correct tires. So. And that is really what it's all about, you know. When the game is all about strategy, making one right call can mean the difference between, you know, finishing in the bottom 5 or finishing on the podium.
Absolutely, yeah. And interestingly here from Cesar Navarro, the guy who started on the softs, let's not forget, the top 4, 3 of them started on the super softs, and Cesar Navarro is the only one in the top 4 to start on the softs, although we have just had an overtake just to mess that up, and Nicholas Carrasco just managed to get ahead of Nicholas Pressey, and looks like Cesar Navarro actually now comes into the pits, interestingly. So he was our soft tyre runner, so he's actually going to do quite short stints here. Looks like that's another 7-lap stint on his soft tyres, so fairly short stints here. Looks like he's probably going for a 3-stop, I imagine. Is that right? But then the other guys are potentially running quite long. Nicholas Morales already on lap 9 of his stint, so 2 laps longer. So he's going to be out there. I imagine he'll be in at the end of this lap, or certainly very, very soon, if not. Last lap was a 35.1, so certainly got the pace at the moment. So if we can stay out for a little longer, then he'll gain quite a bit of big advantage on his rivals.
And Cesar Navarro has fed right out into some serious traffic, and with only maybe 25–30% of his boost bar still remaining. And of course, the guys ahead of him are no slouches. Nicholas Coleman just ahead is 4 laps into his soft stint, so it's not as if his tires are exactly falling off. And indeed, he's probably going to be lighter with fuel than Cesar Navarro. So unfortunately for Navarro, I think this has not really worked out well for him. Going for the 3-stop strategy, he's going for 4 stints on the soft tires, and I'm not so confident about that one. It seems a a bit of a strange one, but Nicholas Morales is going to come out of the pits on a set of the medium tires, pitting at the end of lap 15, so he could potentially go to the end doing a 13-lap stint on medium tires, and he's fed out just ahead of Kevin Gonzalez, and you can already see how much he's slowing him up. He's really all over his case. Yep, and there goes Kevin, actually. Of course, on those soft tires, he was able to breeze right on by, and I believe Cesar Navarro is going to be the next to overtake Morales on those medium tires, and he does indeed. Moves ahead, and Morales has Coleman now right behind him as well too. So we'll keep an eye on this battle. It does look like, let's have a quick look though over at Fazzolari. He's pressuring Nicholas Pressey. No pun intended on that one. And actually, Peter Mann deploying a bit of boost usage there. Deploying some more boost as well, too, on the start-finish straight, actually. As Nicholas Pressey actually comes into the pits. So he's done 11 laps, actually, on that set of softs. He's pitting at the end of lap 16. 12 laps to go. Is he going to go onto a set of softs? It looks like he's going to go onto the mediums, actually. That should easily take him to the end of this race. He is going to feed right out, right at the back, down in the second to last position. But he has clear air, which is something that Cesar Navarro and Nicholas Morales did not have when they came out of the pits.
Absolutely, yeah. And just keep an eye on Peter Mann here. You see him deploying actually quite a lot of boost. I think he's decided against using boost tactically to try and get DRS or to try and overtake people. And he's very much using it in the acceleration zones, which in my experience is actually the best way to use boost. It gives you the best lap time. So, you know, just as it used to be in real life when, you know, it's best to use the boost at the beginning of the straight. So, yeah, he seems to just be using it for pure lap time at the moment. He's just going for absolute lap time. I imagine him pit very soon, potentially even this lap. Yes, he does indeed come into the pits. I expect him to come out right around Cesar Navarro, maybe just behind them. So that really, really tight pack. So if he can sneak out just in front of them and we'll be behind them, this will be his last stop, of course.
Daniel Thomas still on the medium tires. He's going to move up a few positions thanks to those cars into the pits. That moves him up into fourth, just outside of the podium position. So let's just remind ourselves, yeah, Daniel Thomas is now on his 11th lap on these mediums. So he is going to be rather light with fuel. And just taking a look at the sector times, comparing them to Kevin Gonzalez, he is quicker in Sector 1, but not that time, actually. Kevin Gonzalez pushing a little bit harder, it seems, and closing up to the back of Daniel Thomas, who has just under half of his boost bar still remaining. Again, Kevin Gonzalez used all of his rather early. Cesar Navarro has just a little sniff of some boost still available. And are we going to see a change of position for second place, or what is currently second place? Chandler Saita coming under attack from Johan Dimier as they come down the DRS straight. It looks like Dimier's not going to have the speed to actually mount an attack into that hairpin, and indeed they stay as they are. Kevin Gonzalez, though, looking like he's battling with Daniel Thomas. Is anyone going to come into the pits in that battle? No, everybody continuing on, actually, and a bit of a gap starting to form between Navarro and Coleman. So the three, Gonzalez, Thomas, and Navarro, who have all finished on the podium, by the way, at some point in this season. They have now broken away from the seventh place man, Nicholas Coleman. And it seems that they're kind of segregating themselves off into two groups, potentially. Oh, and there's a boost overtake from Cesar Navarro on Daniel Thomas, deploying a little bit more of his boost. Again, Thomas, though, with more boost still available, so he could be a threat later on in this race. Fazzolari is now has a 5-second gap, actually, down to Saita. Peter Mann, let's have a look at our former race leader. He's down in 10th position, and he's caught up in this battle that we were focusing on, the kind of midfield battle. Oh, we've got another change of position, actually, as Cesar Navarro moving past Kevin Gonzalez once again with a bit of DRS usage there. So a very close battle for what is currently fourth position. And Saita and Dimier, actually, who are battling for second position, they're both peeling off into the pits at the end of lap 19, and they will come out at the start of lap 20. And it looks like it's going to be a set of soft compound tires. I agree with that decision from both of those drivers, actually. And they're going to feed out, of course, right next to one another. And just behind Jake Thompson, who is running around on rather old mediums, so he's going to be pretty light with fuel. So Fazzolari now, let's see, what is his status as far as, yeah, he's done 9 laps on this set. If he's doing a 2-stop and only using soft tires, and he came in at the end of lap 10, I imagine he's going to be coming in at the end of lap 20 here. and doing an 8-lap stint on the softs. This is going to drop him back into the pack, though, of course. And speaking of the pack, let's look a little bit further down. As Cabanes is going to make a move, a bit of boost usage for the pink car to move up ahead of Jose Navarro. So, and we do indeed see Fazzolari pit from the lead of this race. Where is he going to feed out? As I mentioned, I think it is going to be right around this pack or so. He's moving again in the pit lane. Here comes Carrasco down the start-finish straight. He's deploying a bit of boost. He wants to get ahead of Fazzolari, but it's not worked out. Simon Fazzolari Simone Fazzolari comes out in 4th position with fresh tires, and I have to say it's looking pretty good for him. Just a reminder to everyone, Cesar Navarro, who now currently leads this race, has done a 6-lap stint. What do we think, Alex? Is he going to be pitting at the end for Super Softs?
I'd imagine so. Well, mind you, he's done 7 laps every lap, so I imagine he'll pit potentially
this lap for softs.
Maybe at the end of this lap, or maybe next lap. If it was me, I'd probably try and push it to next lap and then one more set of the soft. So he will have to pit again, and a lot of the rest of them won't have to pit it. I don't think actually anyone else at all has to pit again. He's now judging, looking at the stint lengths at the moment. It looks like he's the only one that'll have to pit now. So we should see if he comes in this lap. He does indeed come in this lap then. So that should push him down to probably about P10. So just sort of on the P9, P10 on the fringes of the points there. So I imagine he will go to the soft tyres, does he? He does indeed. So that's interesting strategy from him there. Deciding to take an extra pit stop than the entire field. Actually, everybody else has done a 2-stop. He's the only one of the 3. So still picking up a couple of points now. And be interested to see if he can start to make some progress with his less worn tyres. Of course, this is the most interesting part of the race for me, because now, providing everyone's done their maths right, this should be the time when everyone's got identical fuel loads. So this is absolute, just pure race pace now. You know, every other stint, everyone's all got varying fuel loads, varying strategies. They are, of course, on slightly different tyres, but you can very clearly see that on your screens, what tyres are on. The fuel loads should, in theory, all be identical. So this battle for the lead right now going on between Nicolas Morales and Peter Mann. It looks like Peter Mann is just outside DRS, but that is absolutely for the lead. There's no more pit stops to go. Again, providing they've all done their maths right, you don't want to see any last lap pit stops. But this is just a straight fight for the win now.
Yeah, it sure is. The only thing that could make a small difference in that is the suppliers, which suppliers the teams have gone for, as you know, because if they have better fuel economy on their car or from their suppliers, of course, then they don't need quite as much fuel in their car. But you're exactly right. It's going to be pretty much identical fuel levels for everybody. Obviously not identical tires for everybody, though. I'm going to put this up one last time, I think, just so everybody can look and remind themselves of what the tire life is like for everybody. So that's been enough time, I think. Let's switch back over to see the gaps. The main battle at the moment is probably between Morales and Peter Mann. Peter Mann's not making huge inroads, though, in that battle. Nicholas Pressey doing his best to try and pull away from Franco Inceralde in the battle for 5th position. And, of course, Saita and Dimier are still locked in battle. I swear, those two guys have been battling for a good half of the race. Clearly, though, Saita with a lot more boost still available to him compared to Johan Dimier. His boost usage was not enough to pick up the DRS off of Inceralde there. I think he's going to be a little bit upset about that one. Johan Dimier getting the DRS, deploying a bit more boost, and he's only got a sliver still remaining. So Chandler Saita looking pretty good. Both of the Americans, I always feel obligated to keep an eye on the Americans. I can't help it. You know, that's just the curse of being a commentator. You got to keep up with your countrymen and all that. But both the Americans doing much better this week compared to last week. Neither of them was in the points last week, and currently they are both in the points, so I'm very happy about that. Peter Mann is only maintaining, really, that gap to Nicolas Morales. And, I mean, with their tire life, as the laps tick down, I honestly think Peter Mann has less and less chance of actually closing in on Nicolas Morales. Just reminding ourselves of their boost usage, and actually Morales has a little bit more boost remaining compared to Peter Mann. Simone Fazzolari hardly using, or hardly has any boost still remaining. Nicolas Carrasco completely empty. Nicolas Pressey actually using the rest of his boost. He's now completely drained, as is Franco Inceralde, who is still within DRS range, however. Cesar Navarro on that 3-stop strategy, still in 9th position. He, of course, has the freshest tires out of everybody in the race. Absolutely everybody. Certainly compared to all of the cars ahead of him, though. So we'll be watching Cesar Navarro to see if he can make anything magical happen in the closing stages of this race. We finished lap 24. We're on lap 25 now, so less than 4 laps remaining in this race here in Shanghai. And Cesar Navarro, he's in the points, as is Kevin Gonzalez. But I mean, certainly Kevin Gonzalez is not going to be moving further up. So it's looking like one championship point after today's race for our championship leader. And I'm sure Kevin won't like hearing this, but as spectators, of course, that's what we like to see. Again, as you said, nobody likes to see people just running away with it. So great to see the various finishes that we've seen throughout this season. And it's looking like it's going to be another shocker as we see a lot of people picking up the DRS on the start-finish straight, or not the start-finish straight, on the DRS straight. Nicholas Pressey coming under attack from Chandler Saita, actually. Saita's still got a little bit of boost out of the final corner. He takes 5th position. One American to the other, and he sets fastest lap as he did it with a 1:33.3, moving himself up ahead of his compatriot. And also, I think worth reminding everyone, those are our 2 youngest competitors as well, too. They're both under the age of 18.
Absolutely, yeah. So good job from them. Let's not forget that Nicholas Pressey is also on the medium tyres. So like you said, in theory, he should have lower tyre wear at the end, so he should be quicker. In iGP, I find that the first 50% of your tyre wear, you don't seem to really lose any lap time at all. So from 100% tyre life down to 50% tyre life, your pace is very, very similar. It's when you start dropping below 50% that you start to really drop off pace. That's what I find in my experience. And I have to say, Justin, I think you might be right about the leaders. I feel like Peterman has got a little bit more boost. So if he can just sneak in DRS, he might have a chance. But I think his tyres potentially are past that critical 50% point. And Nicholas Morales, although he's been on his tyres 2 laps longer, his tyres, of course, are on the medium tyres. So he has got slightly harder tyres, so that will be helping him. So I think Peterman is going to need some really impressive laps from his driver at the end of this race in order to try and catch P1. P3 at the minute, Simone very much on his own. So I think that the theory is fairly well sewn up. Again, assuming he's done his calculations right. And if we're looking at nationalities, Justin, I am of course British, and also sport. If we can check on them, they're way back down in P15. Unfortunately for me being a Brit, so not a good race from them again. Unfortunately, just second to last. And Jake Thompson is also a Brit. But the key one for me really is Peter Mann up in P2. So he's very much flying the flag for us Brits there.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah, doing very well. I think worth pointing out, Simone Fazzolari actually has not scored a single point so far this season. So again, this just goes to show the diversity of finishers and the where people are finishing in these races is truly incredible. I'm really enjoying it. I'm also really enjoying seeing that DRS train down into that hairpin. No changes of position as we see Cesar Navarro, I believe, deploying the last of his boost. He has moved up a couple of positions. He was 9th last time when we checked on him. He has moved up into 7th position. Again, he does have the freshest and softest tires out of everybody around him, so he could make up some more positions. I don't think he's going to get any higher than 5th, though, because of that buffer kind of between Carrasco and Saita. I think Carrasco is probably going to be safe as Fazzolari deploys the rest of his boost. As we are on the final lap, it's all going on so quickly that I've completely missed the final lap, and Cesar Navarro is going to claim one final position right on the final lap through turn 8, makes his way past Nicholas Pressey, who drops down into 7th position. I think he'll probably be safe from Insaurralde and Dimier just behind, though, because neither of those guys has any boost remaining. But as you said, Peter Mann flying the flag for Great Britain today. And Nicholas Morales, though, is going to be today's winner. A fantastic race from him, you have to say. On those medium tires, it was the right call. He is going to pick up the win. Peter Mann in 2nd. Simone Fazzolari in 3rd position. Nicholas Carrasco in 4th. Chandler Saita is going to hold on to that 5th place position. Nicholas Pressey finally gets some championship points for himself in 7th position. And Daniel Thomas, who finished 2nd and was 2nd in the standings coming into this race, he's not going to score a single point. Again, it's just all over the place. The championship leader has only scored 1 point today. The man in 2nd position has failed to score any points whatsoever. Nicholas Navarro, who is 3rd in the championship standings, he picked up 8 championship points after today. So that's actually going to move him, I believe, ahead of both Gonzalez and Thomas. But I think it might be Nicholas Morales who takes the lead of the championship. He was sitting on 19 points coming into this race. And of course, this is going to put him on 44 championship points after today's race. So I think he might be the championship leader. We can, of course, pull up that information, and we are going to do so indeed. Oops, I've closed out the wrong thing. Let me open it up once more. I do apologize. But we can take a quick look at the championship standings after today's race. But that is another very surprising one, I really have to say there. You know, I think Peter Mann, Alex, since you were talking about flying the flag, I think he's going to be pretty high up in the standings as well now, too. He came into the race in 6th position, actually tied with Morales. So Morales is going to be ahead of Peter Mann, but he had 19 points coming into it. He's going to pick up another 18 here today.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm not sure if you've got the results there, Justin, but I've certainly got them here, and confirming that Nicholas Morales is now in the lead of the championship with 44 points. Peter Mann second, 37. Nicholas Carrasco just 1 point behind on 36 points. So very, very tight still at the top of this championship. And as you said, really, really very results here, which is great to see. As you mentioned, the old championship leader down in P10, the old championship P2 down in P11. So really, really varied. 15 seconds back, those guys were 15 and 18 seconds back, respectively. So really interesting there. There seemed to be a lot of convergence on strategy, I'd say. Pretty much everyone was on a 2-stop. Just Cesar Navarro there on 3-stop. As you said, he did manage to claim a few positions at the end there with some fresher tyres up to P6. So not a bad result from him overall. Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing here, Justin, is the championship. As you said, it's really, really chopped and changed this race, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has indeed. And it was the same situation as well last week after the Malaysian race. I was so surprised to see how tight it was. And honestly, it's gotten even better. We now only have 2 people that have failed to score any championship points at this stage. So 14 drivers already scoring points, which is fantastic to see. And Jake Thompson and Autosport, obviously, we're going to be pulling from them. But I do think it's encouraging from Autosport, the fact that they weren't last. I mean, they were way off at the back in the first race. They were still last in Malaysia, but not quite as far off. So already looking better and better. And then here today, actually finishing ahead of Jake Thompson. And honestly, I think they were pretty competitive. I think maybe it was the start of the race that really lost them out. They lost so many positions at the start of the race after that fantastic qualifying.
Yeah, really strange one from Autosport. Of course, I imagine they're our most famous team. I can't, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, but I don't imagine that anyone else is more famous than Autosport. It's quite a big name there. And yeah, I mean, they have to be disappointed, don't they? Very similar strategy to a lot of the guys. They did 10 laps on the first stint, 10 laps on the second stint, 8 laps at the end there. So pretty similar to everyone else. Everyone else did around that. In fact, Fazzolari in P3 did exactly that strategy. So their strategy was pretty spot on there. So I think there must be something perhaps they're missing there. Perhaps there's a certain optimization, or perhaps their setups, but there must be something they're not getting quite right there, because, as you said, just really dropped down the order there. And yeah, I'm sure they'll be disappointed with that result.
Yep. But again, you know, they're moving forward, and thanks to the advice of Autosport's readers and viewers on Twitter and on their website and stuff like that, clearly they're making improvements. And I mean, this is a tough grid to go up again. I mean, they are really being thrown into the fire here. This is some of the best managers in all of iGP Manager. All of these Argentinian managers, for example, they race each other every single week. You know, they play this game every single week without fail for years and years and years. These guys are better than you or I even, and we've been playing for years and years as well too. So, you know, this is the best of the best. And to see Autosport improving, getting closer to them, you know, it just goes to show there's a lot to learn in iGP. It's not as straightforward as you might think, but they are getting there. So really encouraging stuff from really the entire field, but from Autosport as well too. Make sure you guys keep an eye out for Autosport. They'll be requesting your advice, your votes as far as what they're going to do next week as well too. So make sure all of you guys help them out as much as they can, because it is clearly working. You guys are making a difference, and it showed in today's race, and hopefully it'll show even more so for round 4. That is going to do it for today's broadcast. I want to thank Alex for joining me.
Yeah, cheers, Justin. Another good race, and already looking forward to next week. Actually, myself personally, the championship has really already started to hot up, and we're only on round 3.
Yep. I'm very excited about this one. Really happy to have you alongside me. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you for round 4 next week at 7:55 GMT. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.